Hi, my name is Michelle Knudsen and I make books for kids. You might know some of the characters in my stories. Characters like the LIBRARIAN and Big Mean Mike in my picture books, or Meg and Kaylin from my Trillian series of middle grade novels. Today, I want to talk to you about one character in particular, Cynthia Rothschild. Cyn is the main character in my Evil Librarian series for young adults.
Tell us about your character.
Cyn is not based on me, but we definitely have some things in common. Probably the biggest thing is our love of musical theater. Cyn is the tech director for her high school's fall musical, which in the first book is Sweeney Todd, one of my favorites, and Cyn's too. I was very involved in theater growing up, although unlike Cyn, I like to be on stage, acting and singing, rather than behind the scenes. I performed in community theater, junior high and high school shows, and I went to theater camp for several summers, which Cyn gets to do in the second book of the trilogy. I kept performing in college and for years afterward, mostly in Gilbert and Sullivan operettas, which I love. These days, my schedule makes it hard to commit to rehearsals, so most of my singing happens at karaoke instead.
How did you come up with this character?
When I was coming up with this character, the first thing I had was her voice. I wrote the Evil Librarian books in first person with Cyn as the narrator, and she immediately struck me as smart and funny, and I found myself looking forward to what she had to say. She gets lost in her imagination sometimes, especially when she is thinking about Ryan, the guy she has a huge crush on. Those were some of my favorite moments to write about, because her interior monologue goes to some really funny places. I didn't know a lot about Cyn's story when I started writing, but I kept her talking on the page and followed her lead to find out what the story was going to be about. One of the things I love most about Cyn is how devoted she is to the people she loves. She risks everything for her friends in these stories. And although she's far from perfect and sometimes makes questionable decisions, she's always got her friends' best interests at heart. My friends were everything to me in high school, and they still are. Both my best friends from childhood that I'm still close with, and some new friends I've made as an adult who have become very special to me. They're always there for me and have helped me through tough times. I don't know how I'd ever manage without them.
What made you want to become a creator of books?
I've always loved writing, poems, plays, stories, you name it. But what really made me want to become an author was discovering fantasy novels when I was a kid. My mom and dad both read a lot of science fiction and fantasy, and I remember, even when I was really little, looking at the covers of those books, illustrations of spaceships and unicorns and castles and sword fights, and wanting to know everything that was happening inside those pages. I loved getting lost in stories about impossible worlds full of magic and mythological creatures and mystery and excitement. I fell in love with the characters in those stories, and I knew I wanted to grow up to write my own books about people having amazing adventures and facing danger and working together to overcome incredible obstacles. And dragons. I definitely wanted to write books about dragons too.
If you found a whale in your bathtub, what would you do?
After I got over my initial shock, I'd probably try to talk to it. I mean, a whale that could suddenly appear in my tiny Brooklyn bathroom could very well be a magic whale, and that would be pretty awesome. But either way, I'd try to find a way to get it back to the ocean where it belonged. My apartment is definitely not big enough to share with a whale.